While a city sleeps, it quietly performs thousands of precise, overlapping routines. Traffic grids adjust automatically, power routes to empty skyscrapers, water pressure holds perfectly steady. By the time you wake up, that automation feels entirely personal. You tap a piece of glass in your hand and a car arrives. You press a button and groceries appear at your door. You send a message and it is read across the world instantly. That remove one crucial, unacknowledged element from this equation, and we encounter what logistics experts call the 72-hour vacuum. It is the threshold where, if a specific, invisible workforce simply stops showing up, the systems of a city begin to unravel. This collapse wouldn't announce itself with sirens. It would start with minor annoyances. Your payment app hangs, a flight gets delayed, your internet connection stutters. We've trained ourselves to view our modern lives as a weightless magic trick. But behind the curtain, it is a heavy physical system, one that is entirely dependent on human labor you will likely never see. To understand how physical the cloud actually is, we have to leave the sky and dive deep into the most violent environments on Earth. This is a submarine communications cable resting on the ocean floor. Most people assume global data bounces through satellites in space, but the overwhelming majority of the internet travels through heavy steel and rubber pipelines lying on the seabed. Inside that thick casing, the actual data, every financial transaction, every video call, every email, moves through these hair-thin strands of colored glass. They are incredibly delicate. Looking at a map of the global cable network, you can see exactly how precarious this is. If a commercial fishing anchor drags too deep, or an earthquake shifts the tectonic plates, a cable snaps. Instantly, an entire continent's data traffic hits a wall. No algorithm can fix a broken glass tube resting thousands of feet underwater. Instead, an alert triggers a physical human response, dispatching a specialized vessel directly from a coastal harbor out into the open ocean. Operating these ships are deep-sea cable crews. They spend weeks floating above oceanic trenches, entirely isolated from the billions of people back on land. Their work is cold, wet, and exhausting. They stand in freezing rain, pulling hundreds of feet of heavy, wet steel up onto an open deck to manually splice microscopic glass threads back together. These anonymous sailors are the final barrier standing between global connectivity and the sudden disconnection of entire regional economies. If the internet feels fragile, the systems keeping us alive are even more precarious. We walk into brightly lit grocery stores and assume that milk, medicine, and fresh produce exist in an infinite local supply. They don't. Modern urban centers rarely stockpile their own food. Instead, they rely on tight logistics, meaning millions of people are constantly living just days away from a complete supply disruption. This diagram illustrates what the logistics industry calls the cold chain. Moving perishable items across the country is a strict race against temperature and time. If this continuous blue line of sub-zero temperatures breaks, if it dips into the warm red zone for even a short period, the entire shipment is lost. To ensure that line never breaks, an immense amount of infrastructure is required. Your food passes through massive, windowless refrigeration centers running all day. Inside those centers, technicians spend their shifts working in an artificial winter. They wear heavy parkas in July, navigating icy floors to prevent mass spoilage. That frozen cargo is then handed off to drivers operating specialized temperature-controlled trucks. They navigate heavy city traffic on nearly impossible schedules, ensuring the cargo stays frozen right up to the loading docks of your local supermarket. If any link in this cold chain fails, spoilage follows. Spoilage instantly creates shortages, and humans are highly predictable when they see empty shelves. Fear overtakes logic, triggering immediate panic buying. The thin boundary separating an orderly city from rapid panic isn't a government policy. It is nothing more than continuous cold air and the invisible people required to maintain it. The next time you walk into a grocery store or instantly stream a movie to your phone, pause for a moment. The effortlessness is an illusion. There is no wireless magic holding up the modern world. There are only thousands of miles of heavy steel resting in ocean trenches, and freezing air blowing continuously through concrete warehouses. We tend to credit politicians, tech executives, and highly visible innovators for the success of our society, but the systems they design are completely inert without the physical labor required to run them. Our way of life doesn't sustain itself automatically. It survives day after day for one simple reason. An ordinary, invisible worker woke up